Hi, I'm Aeon, and this is a video. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to more Geometry Dash. Today, I want to talk a little bit about a thing that I get asked about a lot. Hey, Aeon, why do you like bad levels? And contrary to popular belief, I don't actually like that many bad levels. However, I do want to try and explain what goes into the reasoning why I like the levels that I do, and I want to try and explain my own personal standards as to what makes me like something, and what are the factors that accumulate into an AeonAir certified good level. Now, I do know that a lot of people are like, Aeon, your opinions suck, you are terrible, you have no good opinions whatsoever. And I completely understand that. I genuinely do understand why people do not agree with what I have to say about a lot of levels, and I understand why my opinions are unpopular. However, I want to try and explain what makes me like bad levels, because I've become to be known as the bad levels guy. I beat a ton of bad levels that people are like, oh, that's a terrible level. Watch Aeon beat it and call it good, and then like 85% of the time I actually do agree with it, such as stuff like castling, which I did recently, which was very popularly a very bad level, and I was like, yeah, it's not that bad. So I want to try and explain to you guys what makes me think a level is bad and what makes me think a level is good. Primarily, I'm going to be going through some levels that I've been calling good, that I think are great levels that a lot of people call bad. Why did my Bixby go on? Shut up. I don't care about you. But yeah, I think this is going to be interesting, and hopefully you guys get to understand my standards a little bit and what makes me think something. Do keep in mind, however, keep in mind 100% of what I'm about to talk to has zero to do with decoration. When it comes to me enjoying a level, it has nothing to do with the visuals. Visuals are an additive to the level itself that, in my personal opinion, makes the level stand out more, but it does not take away. I don't think visuals take away anything from a level. I think the visuals are just purely a cosmetic that makes the level look cooler. However, I don't really think it adds anything to the gameplay. Decoration can add something to the gameplay in the sense of something like Requiem or Killbot, where the decoration directly affects the gameplay in the sense of memory, with adding obstructive visuals to make the level harder to see. That's something completely different. That is something I will touch onto. However, decoration, for the most part, does not matter anything to me. As long as a level looks cool, I'm fine with it, but the most important part is gameplay. So, I have a couple of things here that I want to talk about personally, and I want to go through them. So we're going to watch some videos of levels that I think are good, and we're going to go through them. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. Subscribe. Nothing else today, just subscribe. Thanks. Let's hit 100,000 before the end of the month. Now, naturally, the first one that everyone thinks of is Base Cave, and the first thing that really makes me like want to try out a bad level, and the reason why I started doing bad levels to begin with, was Intrigue. I am a very curious person by nature. I think Intrigue is a very important thing for me when it comes to enjoying levels, and if a level is infamously really bad or has some form of infamousy surrounding the name of the level, it intrigues me. It sparks an interest in the level, which makes me want to check it out. And I'm the kind of person who's like, if I've started something and I've made significant progress on it, I don't really like dropping it. And in the sense of, or in the case of Base Cave, I was just intrigued as to why everyone called it the worst level of all time. And I was like, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, the visuals are whatever. It just looks like scuffed, deadlocked. The gameplay looks whatever. It has some cool shit parts. I'll try it out and see if I like it. And I ended up liking it. And the only reason why I tried it to begin with was because of that intrigue. I try out a lot of bad levels because the level is intriguing to me. I just think it looks interesting. There's literally nothing more to it. People are like, oh, Aeon has this like cool, meticulous plan to figure out what the worst levels are. And no. I just look at it and I'll go like, oh, that's cool. That's neat. I'll check it out. Why not? Like, this wave part at the very end here, I was like, oh, that's sick. That's a terrible way to end a level. I want to check that out. And here we are. I've beaten Base Cave. I liked it. There's really not anything more to it. I just thought it was cool. That's literally it. Now, the next one is, I've gotten a lot of flack for it, and I called it good, and a lot of people disagreed with me. Although, over time, more people have started agreeing with me. I think Sunset Sandstorm is fantastic, and for a long time, it was really unpopular. The reason why I think Sunset Sandstorm is great is the uniqueness of it, and I think uniqueness is a very valid thing to put into perspective when talking about levels that I personally find good, because there are a lot of very good levels out there. There's a lot of really good levels, but they don't really stick out. They're just good, they're fun, that's about it. Take something like Artificial Ascent. It's just a very straightforward level. It's good. It's enjoyable, but that's pretty much it. I think Artificial is a good level. That's pretty much it. Same with Carcano. I just think it's a fun level. It doesn't really stick out much. It doesn't have anything going for it. It's just a good level. However, with levels that are generally seen as bad, a lot of the reason is because they have unconventional gameplay, and the unconventional gameplay adds onto the intrigue, but the uniqueness also makes them stick out to me a lot more, which in turn makes me more inclined to try it out and see if I enjoy it. And a lot of the time I do like it because it adds flair to normally monotonous gameplay that isn't anything different. I feel like I've played the exact same easy demon like 150 times because the gameplay of it is so similar to other levels that it just does not stick out. I've beaten almost 600 easy demons. I can name like 5. It's not because they're bad levels. They're all of them, or most of them are really, really good levels. They're just nothing special. They're nothing spectacular. And that lack of uniqueness makes it not stick out, and it lacks the intrigue that a lot of the bad levels have. The reason why bad levels are classified as bad is because they are unique in a sense that people just aren't familiar with, which makes it way less enjoyable for a lot of people, which I think is completely fair criticism. I think that's valid. I, however, really enjoyed that uniqueness, and it is the reason why I like stuff like Sunset Sandstorm or Base Cave. Now, the next one is Killbot, which, let's be real, Killbot is a great level. At this point, everyone thinks Killbot is a great level, or not everyone, but more or less everyone. But I want to touch on something that a lot of people just forget, and it's the fact that even though you don't think a level is visually good, which is a lot of the case with levels that people think are bad, the base gameplay can be really good. And in the case of Killbot, which a lot of people were like, oh, it's terrible, it's a memory demon. Same with Fake-A-Doom, it's a memory demon, it's terrible, it's horrible level, looks shit, looks awful. The actual gameplay is really well crafted, and it's just fun and enjoyable. A bad level visually can still be fun, and I feel like a lot of people miss out on that. There are levels that look absolutely horrendous that are fantastic to play, and the same goes the other way around as well. There are amazing looking levels that are garbage to play. Digital Descent is an example that I have, or Anahita. I did not enjoy Anahita's gameplay. I thought it was not that good. I personally think that the gameplay has to be good for a level to be good. I don't really care how good a level looks. If I don't enjoy the base gameplay, I don't enjoy the base gameplay. The base gameplay is very important, and I feel like people need to remember that the base gameplay of a level can be good without the level looking good. Remember that going forward, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people tend to forget, and it's something that I put very highly. Base gameplay does not include the decoration. Keep that in mind. Now, this one is an important one to me. I get so much hate, not hate, I get so much shit for liking Invisible Deadlock. I personally think Invisible Deadlock is an absolutely fantastic level, and people are like, why, Aeon? It's deadlocked, but you can't see. Satisfaction when playing a level, oh so important. I think satisfaction is one of the absolutely most important things in gameplay in this game. Period. That is why I think stuff like Requiem and Killbot are fantastic. The satisfaction you get from pulling it off, unmatched. It's the reason why I like Memory as much as I do. And a lot of the time, levels that people consider bad have this weird gameplay that people just don't like, but it's incredibly satisfying to pull off. It doesn't have to be a bad level for it to be satisfying, but I feel like satisfaction is important, and I personally get very satisfied from pulling off these weird things or crazy things such as Invisible Deadlock, Killbot, Requiem, I don't get with other levels. So these bad levels just have this satisfaction aspect to it that I don't feel like I get with other levels, which to me is very important. The reason why Invisible Deadlock is one of my favorite levels of all time is because of how satisfying the level is. Would I like something like Sightless Sandstorm or Blind Blizzard? Absolutely, I 100% would. Am I going to play them? No, they're way too hard. But I'm sure as hell would love it. I'm convinced that I would really appreciate and very much enjoy playing them. They're just too hard for me. Satisfaction, very important. People keep forgetting that satisfaction is a thing in this game. People just play levels because it's expected to be good. Play for your own satisfaction. That's why I play a lot of these levels. Okay, this one might be a little bit weird, but I'm going to talk about balancing real fast. This is obviously not the case for a lot of levels, but I'm going to use Phobos as a prime example for this because I like Phobos. I'm one of the few people in the world who actually thinks Phobos is a fantastic level. I really, really enjoyed Phobos. Phobos is well balanced. Sure, the gameplay is kind of jank, but you die to everything. You don't die to just one thing. You die to, I felt at least like I could die to any click in the entire level. Phobos as a level is very well balanced and it feels fair to play. So while the gameplay is nothing spectacular, it goes back to the uniqueness of it where the level itself feels unique. It has that overall decent base gameplay, and it's well balanced. I can't bring myself to not like Phobos because of that. I didn't have a bad time playing it. I had a great time learning it. It felt fair to play, and the base gameplay of it was well balanced, and it felt good to play. So even though Phobos as a whole, to a lot of people, is a terrible level, really can't go and say, oh, it's based on choke points, it's based on bad gameplay, because realistically it's not really. It looks bad, I will admit. I don't think the visuals in Phobos are good whatsoever, but it's a good level. It has like a couple weird bugs that are like somewhat annoying. Very well balanced. I felt like the level was fair all the way through. I never felt like I had a break with it, which is what made me really like it. It's a good level. Unlike something like Bloodbath, which is another level that I like, but I've critiqued in past for having poor balancing. Phobos gets rid of that. It has the base gameplay such as Bloodbath, but it also has the balancing, which in my opinion makes it the better level. Is it still bad visually? Absolutely. It looks shit, but it's fun. It's well balanced. It's an enjoyable level. Has a little bit of jank, but that's completely avoidable if you just practice enough. Phobos is great. That's all I have to say. Balancing is very important, and I feel like a lot of bad levels have good balancing. They just look bad. Okay, shout out to Spamdrew real quick for I'm using his video. I don't even know if I'm allowed to, but anyway. This is a point that I feel like a lot of people are expecting me to put out. It's the funny factor. What I mean by funny factor is just the level just does not take itself seriously whatsoever, and the level is so purposefully bad that I just can't get myself to dislike it. And what I mean by that is that I see GD as like an art form in the sense that levels can be made for fun, and Sari Never Clear to me especially is a level that I look at and I'm like, they just didn't take it seriously. They took an old impossible level, they memed it, made it a real thing, and called it a day. And I have some form of appreciation for that. While I've heard the base gameplay isn't terrible, the level just doesn't take itself seriously enough, and I feel like that's the case with a lot of like bad levels, quote unquote, where it's just it doesn't take itself seriously, and I can appreciate the level for what it is. I recognize the fact that Sari Never Clear is not a good level. I just like it because I think it's a funny level. I don't think I need any more explanation for it. I just think it's funny. That's literally it. I feel like more people should just appreciate levels for what they are, and so stop putting things into like abstract brackets of this level is good, this level is bad. Some levels you can like because they're funny. I think Hard Machine is funny. Is it a good level? No, it's terrible. Do I like it still? Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly, I think expectations is a big thing. I go into a lot of levels that I know are infamously bad, expecting them to be terrible. I had never heard anything positive about Necromancer except from Vikings, who initially told me to beat it, but because no one that I knew beforehand said that Necromancer was a good level, I expected the absolute worst. Nepesta said it was terrible. Well, it didn't say it was terrible, he said it was bad. Doggy called it garbage, Tech called it garbage. All of my friends who'd played the level said, this level is terrible, don't play, is not worth it. I went into the level with the intrigue that I talked about earlier about this level being terrible, and that is a bad level, and with the intrigue of it just being really hard in Acropolis, while also having incredibly low expectations because of the fact that I knew the level was shit, and I started playing it, I was like, it's not that bad actually. It's actually kind of fun. I don't mind this. And because of the fact that the level is decently well balanced, having overall solid gameplay up until the 70% mark and then getting harder, the level wasn't terrible. And while I don't think Necromancer is a great level, me having low expectations to begin with lowered my standards for it, and I ended up enjoying it. That's the case with a lot of stuff. I expected Base Cave to be terrible because of the fact that Base Cave is infamously really bad. I expected terrible things with stuff like Low Death, and I ended up enjoying it. Expectations matter a lot with this game. If you set low expectations for you performing with a level or how you're going to enjoy it, you are going to inevitably enjoy it more. Step to Hell as well is another example of that. I did not expect to like it at all. I ended up feeling very neutral on it. And then you have cases like Athanatos where I expected to hate it and I hated it. It's kind of how it is. Or with Shatter, which I expected to really like and I ended up not liking even though the level is great. And I feel like expectations is something that people forget is a thing. You have to set your expectations low if you're going into a level that is infamously not very good. I think you should just never have expectations to begin with when playing this game. If you set low expectations going into a level, you are eventually going to enjoy it more. If you set your expectations that you're going to beat your new hardest within a week and you take a week and a half, you're going to be pissed with yourself. You're going to hate your experience. The reason why people like myself get really annoyed not being able to beat something like an Insane Demon within just like a couple hours is because we expect to beat it much faster than we do and we end up disliking it. If you're like, yeah, I'll beat it whenever, you're gonna have a much better time with the game overall, and I think the expectation aspect of Geometry Dash is something that very few people actually think much about. Set your expectations low, you're gonna have a much more enjoyable time with the game, and you're gonna enjoy a lot more levels. The reason why I enjoy as many levels as I do is because I set low expectations. I don't expect to beat levels like in 5 minutes. I expect to take forever because I'm like, that level's impossible. I'm gonna try it. And then I take like a few hours, I'm very happy with myself. And having low expectations for levels that you know are infamously bad, you're gonna enjoy it a lot more. And you're going to end up enjoying a lot more levels that you know are bad. If you go into a level thinking it's bad and you're not gonna have a good time with it, you're very much more inclined to have an okay time with it. And having an okay time with it is much better than having a terrible time with it. I have a much worse time with good levels than I have with bad levels because the good levels I expect to be good. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I hope you guys understand my standards a little bit better. This ended up being not much longer than I expected. It was a little bit longer than I expected. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I had a very good time making this video. I thought it was fun. Just talking a little bit about what I see in levels and why I like bad levels. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. All that guys know the drill by now. Comment down below a bad level that you like. Say a level that's like very unpopular and say why you like it. Go for it. I would love to hear. Anyway, eat your greens, stay healthy, stay hydrated. Thank you for making my day better. Hope my yours a little bit better too. I'll see you guys around. Goodbye, everyone.